So for the next phase of the project, we're going to now add the batteries into the auxiliary power circuit. So we're going to go back to our drawing here, schematic, and you can see here this is the cable from the truck, and then it goes into a junction box, which is right here. Which is this black wire right here. I took the battery out, battery box, just to check the wiring. So this is that main black wire here, right here. This big thick one, I think it's a 10 gauge. And then it splits off into two through this block here. It splits off into two. One goes to the battery cover, which is the charging circuit for the battery. The other one is the one we're interested in, this aux wire, which is right here. And this aux wire, it is labeled dome lights in the schematic here. And that's what we're going to use for our power circuit, our lighting circuit. So what we need to do is I need to electrically break this, open this up, and in series, splice in the battery packs I have. I have two of them. So how are we going to do that? Well, we could do it here and mount the batteries here, one here, and the other one here on this side. But I prefer to have them indoors, so inside to be protected from the weather. So let's go look at our options for that. So I traced the main cable, power cable, or the wiring cable of the trailer into this one area here. The access panel I removed, like you saw me when I did the switch. So here are where the wires come in, and here is this black wire again, which is the auxiliary circuit that we want to put the batteries in series with. So I could do it a couple of ways. I could basically mount the battery packs here to keep inside and do something similar to what you saw with that switch I did. Or I could run the cabling all the way along the top here and put the batteries more in an out of the way place, which I'm thinking right here. 1, 2 batteries right there is probably my preferred location. It's out of the way. When the motorcycles come in and out of the trailer, I don't want to be hitting battery packs, or I don't want them in, on the side in my way. So I'm preferring this area here. So now let's figure out how we can get, I need to open that up, that black auxiliary wire, and then make one half the load and the other side the line. So, and plus I need a neutral that can drop down from any of that metal framing up there. So let's get started by removing these racks. So just sizing up these boxes, I took the batteries out, that's why they're so light. I'm just thinking of putting them right about here, side by side actually. So I think that would be a good solution. I can see the lights in case there's any issues with them. I can easily get the batteries and lift them out. So right about here is probably where I want them. And I'm going to drill a hole even with, in line with the one that's already drilled up there, right about here. I think that would be the place to put them. So let's drill a hole. Now the hole I drilled was not some random size. I drilled the hole based on the grommet I had, which is going to fit right into here and give me a nice soft cushioned surface for the wires that go through the wall. But before I put that in, I'm going to snake the wire up, put a snake up there, and
so if I haven't mentioned already, this is a 12 gauge wire. So it is more than enough to handle the current, which we think is around 6 amps, like we said before. So we're gonna this will minimize, I'm not doing it for the heating or the amp carrying capability of the wire. I'm doing it for the voltage drop. So we're just gonna run it right here up through these existing insulated openings here.
okay, I attached the conductors to the snake I have through the wall. Just gonna pull it through. Okay, let's install the battery boxes now. So I measured up from the floor about 37.5, which is about the height I want to put the boxes. It gives me good room to this bottom basket, and it gives me some clearance to this hole with the cables and the wires in it. So 37.5 measure on it. You don't want to use a level on a trailer. You could, but the trailer you don't know if it's ever level because it is mobile. So it depends on how you put the jack and all that, jack stand. So I just went ahead. It's always better to measure from the floor, and that looks about right to me. So we're gonna go ahead and just drill some pilot holes here. And then we're going to use some 2-inch stainless steel Phillips head pan head screws with a washer on them to secure the boxes to the wall, which is 3/8 plywood. If I'm lucky to hit a beam, a stud, I get another 1.5 inches of material. So we're just going to screw it in. Now I'll do the same for the second box. Okay, so it's time to wire up these boxes, battery boxes, and as you see, I started just laying out the wires. So the two reds, I'm doing them in parallel, is the power from the truck battery, which is going to charge these battery packs. The blue is the load that's going to go to the lights, which you're going to have to put a fuse in the line to protect these batteries in the cabling from any short circuits. The white is just ground, which I'm going to combine it similar to how I'm doing the reds. So everything's going to be in parallel, and so I'm splitting off each of these into both boxes equally. So I'm just going to solder them as you've seen me do before, and then I have my shrink wrap tubing up here that I can slide down and heat to seal the joint. So let me just show you how I solder large gauge wires like this. This is a 12 gauge, these two are 16 gauge. So instead of trying to wrap them and then twist them around each other, it makes a big bulky knot, really. So, and it's not good for the conductivity or the tape or the shrink wrap, because you can't really get in the center of that when you do that knot when you do the soldering. So what I do is I fan the conductors out, the strands. Whenever you have stranded cable like this, conductors, I strand them out, and then I kind of interweave them like this into the logic conductor like that. And then see how they're all like intertwined internally. So, and then when they're like that, that's where I kind of just give them a twist just to hold them in place. And now it's individual strands that have commingled inside of each other. So it gives a better connection, and it's a narrower connection. So that's how I do that. Okay, so that soldering iron that I was using just didn't have enough power to do these big joints here of 12 gauge wire, 216s going to 12. So I'm using a higher powered torch soldering iron, which is using butane, and this is a flame that will heat this nozzle, this tip up. So for the blue wire, which is the battery, which is always on from this pack, we have to protect it. So if a short happens in this circuit, lighting, anything, if you have a short circuit or something goes wrong and the current goes very high levels, these wires would not be protected, and it would start to burn up and cause a real safety issue. So, not to mention the battery could overheat and catch fire. So what I did was I put an inline fuse in here. So I'm going to protect this for about probably, the wire is, this is 16 gauge. So I'm going to probably put a 10 amp fuse in there. So if it ever gets to that level, the fuse will pop, burn out, and then protect the wires. That's why I put this in. Now to do the shrink wrapping. All right, so I cleaned up the wires, kneaded them up, secured them, and it looks like a pretty nice job. Let's move on to the next step. Okay, so now we're gonna do the final tie-in here with the wires that these 3 wires that we wired into the battery boxes. And now what we're gonna do is, this is the main, down here, this is the main cable coming in from the trailer wire harness. So we're gonna, this is the neutral, and we talked about the blue being neutral. So we're going to just cut this connector out and just replace it with a solder joint, and we're going to connect in the white one that we brought to the battery pack here. So there's going to be four connections there. And then we're going to take this black one, which is right here. You can see it here. This black one comes up from the main cable, and then it just splices into the harness here. So we're going to cut this one out here, and then put this down in series with the box, where the blue is the load, which is going to be the one that goes up, and the red is the line, which is the one that's going to come from this this cable here. Okay, so I made the connections and I tidied things up by using some wire ties and put it all back together again. And as you can see, I even did that up here. So I ran I just tied the wires nice and neatly up there. I used some of these sticky blocks. You can't really see them, but they're sticky with a little wire tie attached to them. I come down here into that hole we talked about that's already drilled. And then here are the battery boxes installed, fully operational. So if you press the test buttons, they both work fine. They're charged. And here is my nice neat wiring I did with the fuse. I put a 15 amp fuse in there just in case to protect everything. And then over here I have the switches, and let's check to see if they work. Okay, let's check. All right, nice. So I get 3-way action now. I can turn it on and off from either one. Let's try this one. Okay, nice. And I also have this one here. That now works without the tow truck being connected. So that wraps it up. Just gonna do some testing on charging the batteries, and we should be all set. Thanks for watching.